Hey everyone, it's DJ Money, and welcome back. So, if you've watched my past video on gladiators, well, I had mentioned two specific ones, Spartacus and Flamma. And I had also mentioned female gladiators. I will make a note of them at the end of this video. It's a quick, short one because unfortunately I haven't found a whole lot of information on them. These two specific gladiators and the female counterparts of their time, only because most of it was highly debated or kind of forgotten, pushed away, out of existence, whatever situation falls under that context. So just bear with me on that. The information that I found on Spartacus, of course, I'm sure you've seen the movies and the adaptations of it from Hollywood. I'm sure you've seen maybe a documentary on him. But from the information I could gather, he was born in 111 BC, or before Christ, in present-day Bulgaria. In his time, it was a region called Thrace. A person from that region would be called a Thracian. It makes up most of southeastern Bulgaria, I believe Hungary, and a couple other countries in Eastern Europe that neighbor that country. He had trained in the Ludus, the training school, at Capua in Italy, and he was a Murmio class gladiator. The most notable thing I found about him is another great gladiator by the name of Crixus, and a couple others had led this revolt in 73 BC against the Roman Empire. Or no, sorry, as it was, the Roman Republic. So this was kind of the early days of ancient Rome. And 70 of his constituents as well. They had staged a revolt leading into what's called the Third Servile War. Servile, however you pronounce that. So essentially this war is, or the very concept of it is these former gladiators, former slaves, they're revolting for their freedom from the Roman Republic. Essentially, it's a war for independence. He had, although this is debated, he had died in 71 BC between the ages of, I believe, 39 and 40. So he was fairly young when he supposedly or allegedly died in modern-day Lucania, Italy. Like I said, most of his life is fairly debated or unknown. If you have anything that you know about him or you found out about him, please feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'd love to read it. So the other guy, Flamma, however you pronounce his name, he was a Syrian. And the classic gladiator he was a secutor, persecutor, however you say that. What made him so significant is he was awarded this wooden baton called a rudius. It's supposed to represent bravery, courage, whatever the Roman virtue of that signalizes back then. 4 times he had been awarded that. I believe if you show that as a gladiator, as a slave, you're awarded the potential of being a free person and even retire. And he had, pardon me. And he had refused that 4 times. Ringtone, sorry. And eventually he did retire. He died at the age of 30, which in ancient Rome was actually fairly old. So he was the how do I put this? He wasn't undefeated, but he had won probably more or the most of any gladiator ever. As far as his record shows, it's 21 out of 34 fights. So pretty remarkable person when it comes to that. My final remark on female gladiators is they were not exactly a popular concept in ancient Rome. In fact, many people hated or envied the idea of it. They were like modern celebrities. Many modern feminists nowadays would definitely side with, how these female gladiators were and how they lived their lives. And I believe there was an instance where they had this banquet like the night before the event, and this sponsor of a female gladiator had asked her to show a move, impress the crowd, and she did so. And some man came up, and he was shouting at her in Latin and saying, "This is unacceptable. This is not the Roman way." Yada yada. So tell me what you guys think about that. Like I said in my last video, is I'm not putting any idea in anyone's ear. I'm just saying that this is what happened. This is how it was, and take it for how it is. But anyways, so my next video, I had forgotten to do it earlier this month. It's about Pearl Harbor. I'm a veteran, and the thing about that particular morning, obviously this was in the year 1941. It got the United States involved in the war. I obviously wasn't around back then. Most of you folks weren't around back then. But I go more in depth as to what actually happened that day, and in some ways how preventable it could have been. If you really think about it, the events that led to the attack at Pearl Harbor were very preventable. It was a big what if, but I'll get into that in my next video at some point. Not today, obviously, but very soon. So this is CJ Morning signing off. Have a good one. And Happy New Year, by the way.